Okay, so this open system concept, the way you use it is like this. If you analyze an organization and the organization emphasize a lot in terms of how to do things better, improve this process, improve that process and all that, but then there was very lagging about knowing the market, why they're changing to fit the market, right? Then you can say, oh, according to open system theory, organizations are affected by the environment and the marketplace. And obviously in this organization, when they changed, they were focusing a lot on the process of change or processes of the organization. But it wasn't clear whether they are aware of what in the marketplace is driving them to change, right? Which means they are probably not aware of this open system concept, and that's something that may not be very good. They should first diagnose the environment, right? Understand in the environment or marketplace what is affecting them to change and what change they should introduce to be competitive in the marketplace, right? So it could be that in the marketplace, the right thing to change is that you got to redefine your product, right? You redefine your product rather than improving your processes, right? You could be improving your process to build a product that's perfect, okay? But the market don't need that product. The time has changed. Maybe 10 years ago, people liked that product, right? But now people don't like that product. People want a different product, right? Then you're not sensitive to the market. So that means they are not paying attention to the environment, then they are not really knowing the concept of the open system theory. So that's how you can use this, okay? Vice versa, an organization change will affect the marketplace and therefore affect another organization. For instance, your competitor, a new competitor will come because they have changed and the environment changed and therefore affect you as an organization, right? So that's the open system concept, okay? Key point is, organizations are not standalone from the environment. They have interaction with the environment. That's the key thing. That environment can be social, can be market, can be competitors, whatever, okay? Any question on this theory?
No.
Okay, good. Next, let me move on to this drivers or forces of change, okay? Drivers or forces of change, and I think this one I covered many times already, you probably know it already, right? So just a quick flash of that. So this is the open system concept. Okay, this is the open system concept theory. The marketplace has got input, and I mean the input can be anything, information, product, services, customer, not just energy or whatever, right? It can be anything. And then the output is mainly your goods and services, right? And then internally, this is your organization, right? Now the organization can be viewed as with many different way of looking at the organization, okay? This way of looking at an organization is consisting of social component and technological component is what we call as the STS model. STS model, that means Socio-technical system. I'll come to that in a while in that list, okay? STS, Socio-technical system. That means you look at an organization as primarily consisting of two main components. One component is called the social component, another component is called the technological component. When we say technological component here, it doesn't mean IT system, okay? It means business processes, it means the structure, it means anything that is more technical in nature, right? Whereas the social component means the organization structure, the people, the culture, and all that stuff, the soft part of it, okay? So this is a very generic way of looking at an organization, STS. Eric Trist is the guy who invented this one. We'll come to that in a while, okay? Most of modern system nowadays, right, almost 100% of them is based on open system concept, okay? This part of the organization, all the different models that you come along with, like Burke-Litwin model, I mentioned a bit of that. Burke-Litwin model is another one that replaces this one, and they have a different view of that, okay? Different view of that organization. We'll come to that in a while. Now, back to this point about drivers of change. Drivers of change. Now, these are the drivers. What can you see here? Can you guys read out to me what are the drivers of organization change? Let's start from the top, right? First is what?
Competitors.
Next is what? Customers, right?
Customers.
Government. Stockholders.
Suppliers.
Society. Employees.
Employees and unions.
Very good, right? So, what are internal factors and what are external factors among here? Okay, government, customer, supplier, society, very social external, right? Stakeholders. Internal, yes. Internal, okay. Unions?
Internal.
Internal, okay. Now, there's one employee that has a significant impact, which is a driver of change also. Who is that employee? Start with a C.
Change agent or change champion.
C followed by an O.
Competitor.
Followed by an E. Followed by an E. C-O-E. What's that?
CEO of the company.
CEO rather, my apologies. I've been
CEO.
influenced by Singapore COE bidding. For Indian class, you probably don't know what COE. But Singapore class, I think you guys know what COE. Okay. Okay, my apologies. I have been influenced by the government of Singapore. Okay. So it's CEO. Okay. CEO what? Is Chief Executive Officer. Right? How often you heard a new CEO come on board? Big change to the organization, right? Correct? So he's what? Internal. Okay? It's an employer's perspective. Okay? So that's very important. You gotta understand that. Now let's give an example. What kind of specific factors under customer that can influence an organization to change?
If it's CEO, it's 100%.
Sorry, Prominent, can you speak first? What is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I say if it is CEO of the company, then it is 100%.
If it is what again? Can you speak a bit louder, Prominent? It's a bit soft.
Yeah, I say if this is the CEO of the company, then it will be 100%.
We are not talking about a CEO, we are talking about customers. So how can customers influence an organization to change? Can you give an example? There's so many of that. Just think about one. Huh? Yeah, but customer feedback for what? Regarding product, what about product? What new product? Huh? What's that? Don't care about your overhead. Could be product price is too high, for example, one, right? They want cheaper product, okay? Yeah. New features, right? Example of new features. Okay, well, more specific. Tell me, you prefer a PC or a laptop now? You prefer a laptop or a tablet?
Tablet.
So how is customer influencing you in this case? How is customer influencing you?
The demand.
The preference about the mobility, right? Here in this case, the customer's preference towards mobility. The higher mobility, the better, right? It influences an organization. So an organization who keep producing PC nowadays will go bust for sure. Correct? Right? Okay? So that's an example for sure. Okay? Then what about employee? How can employee influence an organization? How about normal employee, not the CEO? Yeah, I think CEO is easy lah. How about a normal employee? What do you want as an employee? Do you want higher pay? Do you want promotion?
Yes.
Do you want promotion? If 10 years you never get promotion, 10 years you never get salary hike, what will happen to you? What will happen to you? Are you super happy with the organization? Will you be very productive? No. So that's how it's influencing an organization, right? Correct? So that means the employee aspiration has, or the motivational factors of employees has an influence to the organization. Okay, so these are all the things as an example. Okay, right? Okay, now that's not the only way to look at drivers of change. If you look to the right side, there's another model. Okay, again, same thing is by Donald Brown. Okay, this is by Donald Brown, the textbook, one of your textbooks. Okay, on the top left, what do you see? What are the drivers?
Competitive uncertainty.
Yes, competitive uncertainty. Thank you. And what are the specifics under there?
Regulations, prices, and suppliers.
Prices. The first one is what? Regulations. Yeah, regulations. Right. Second one is prices.
Prices.
Third one is suppliers. Right?
Suppliers.
Yeah. Okay, so this is another way of looking at it. And these are the drivers of change. Okay. Now, how can suppliers affect you to change?
Prices.
Raw material price.
Yeah.
Right? Or they don't want to supply you
Demand.
because the company that used to supply you now have been bought over by your competitor. Correct? Bought over by competitor, and then they purposely don't want to supply you, so they up the price. Alright? Possible, right?
Yes.
So these are examples, okay? So it's a driver. What's the next set of drivers here? To the right, what do you see?
New competitors.
Competitors, very good. And it could be what? Two kind, right? One is what? Domestic. First one. Yeah. The second one is multinational. So nowadays in Singapore, as an example, the retail industry, I don't know in India, but in Singapore, the retail industry is really suffering. Right? Why? Because of multinational new competitors, right? Who are these people? Amazon, Taobao, Alibaba, eBay, Q10 is domestic, right? So it's really, Amazon now come to Singapore already, right? Wow, have you guys ever used a Prime Now? I use it. It's very good way to do it. Price is super good. And you buy it, normally for online purchase you have to wait a few days, right? But then you get it the next day and it's very clear. So you don't have to guess when they will come, don't know when. It's very good, no? Because when you buy, let's say tomorrow, let's say tomorrow, the next day, then you can choose the time slot, what time to what time, 3 to 4, right? And then it will exactly come at the time. I love that. I say, like, what answer do you say? Good, that was supply. Because you cannot guarantee whether you got people there, right? Sometimes. So, but for that, it's really good. They're creating new competitive advantage for themselves, with a certainty characteristics of delivery. It's new competitive advantage. Okay, it's killing a lot of retail business, really, right? To me, if I got a chance to buy from Prime Now, I will buy from Prime Now. I will not buy anywhere else because the price is definitely better than the in-store. Okay. On the bottom right corner, what is that?
Changing consumers.
Changing consumer, and under there, what do you see?
Lifestyle and trends.
Lifestyles and
Trends.
Yeah, this is definitely the thing that is affecting most in most organizations nowadays, correct? Now you guys' lifestyle have been what compared to your parents? Is your lifestyle more middle class versus your parents which work hard and don't know how to enjoy life? Okay, you want to enjoy life also. You want to get sexy gadgets, right? You want to own a car, right? And then your son and daughter next time not only want to own a car, must own a Mercedes or a BMW. Okay, they will be different than you. Okay, that's the trend. Okay. Yeah, it's true, right? Last time your parents also don't have cars today, right? But nowadays, well, a lot of people must own a car because of social status. Trend, okay? That's why the car business in Singapore, no matter how expensive, it's still moving, right? Also, in Singapore, you can hardly find cheap cars. You find that the Mercedes are 50 cents on the street. It's like very cheap. Okay, next is what? Technology. Again, this is very true today, right? And under there, what do you see? New products, new technologies. I don't need to elaborate on this one. You guys should. Okay, correct? So these are drivers. So you can say, according to Donald Brown's drivers of change, this I can clearly see that the reason why this organization is making change are these drivers, customers, government, shareholders, whatever, and elaborate them. Elaborate for each one. Customer, because the customer patterns have changed, the customer trend have changed, the customer preferences or lifestyle have changed, elaborate on all that. Okay? There's an example. That's how you use it, okay? Next is this famous Burke-Litwin's 3-step model. And I think you guys are super clear about this already. I probably don't need to elaborate anymore. Okay, so it consists of what? Can you guys tell me?
Unfreeze,
Freezing, moving, freezing.
Moving, then freezing, correct? Right, so good, so thanks for that. That's basically the few steps that's involved there. Okay, now what are you guys to do a little bit of homework after this class is to go and understand a bit more in terms of what are the specific things you do under each of these high level action, right? For instance, can you tell me under unfreeze, what do you do? Under unfreeze phase, what do you do? Or what should you do? Can you guys elaborate a little bit to me?
they make sure that the employees or the people participating are ready for change, like psychologically
Very
they
good. I heard that.
talk,
You make
they
sure the
talk.
employee ready for a change. Very good. Okay, very good. Thank you, Madhura, for that.
They talk and they build a relationship so that they are into the process.
Okay, talk to them. Communication, right? Communicate,
Yeah.
right? And what do you talk to them about? What?
About like what do they think about the change? They make them involved. They can ask about suggestions, so they think that they are part of the process.
Okay. Tell them what we need to change.
Yeah, or if somebody is not ready to change or they are resisting, so we can just talk them out of it, or ask about why are they not ready to change, so they can speak up, and then we can decide on.
Okay, very good. That's one part of it, right? So especially for people who might resist,
Yeah.
you want to talk them out to get their support or buy-in, right? Very good. What else? You think you need to tell people why you want to change?
Yeah. The how it is going to change, you can tell them that.
So basically, you need to tell people the why first. Why? And is that all that you tell? Oh, we need to change because we have a new competitor. Is that all you're going to tell them? About the why? There's still something you need to tell them about the why.
Competitor can be a reason. Along with that, we can say that if we want to grow as a company, then we need to go through this change.
Okay, very good. We need to tell them our competitor is changing and then therefore we need to change, right? But
Yeah.
that is still why, but that's not enough. The right thing to do is that you also need to tell the employee, if we do not change, what is the consequence? Right? If you do not change, and you do not change fast enough, what is the consequence? You need to share that. Why do you think you need to share that?
Because then they get an overview of if they do not change, they're going to face these problems, and if
Very
they do,
good, very good. Right? And on top, it helps to create what? A sense of what? Create a sense of Cotter's
recognition.
this John Kotter. First step. Create what? Sense sense of urgency. Right? Great sense of urgency. Now, you use this phase, you can see that there's some organization that when they want to make a change, they rush into the change because of the urgency, and the management sees the urgency. The management can see the urgency. They want to change fast, and they rush into the change, but they haven't done enough to allow time to communicate correctly with their employee, to seek the buy-in, to create the sense of urgency in the employee, allow the employee to be ready for the change before they get into the movement phase, right? So they jump into the movement phase straight away almost. Maybe they just do a sloppy communication, and most times, yes, it's true, they just do a very simple communication, and then after that, they get into the action ready, right? So the right way to do this is that you need to allow a bit of time, right, to do that communication, and to allow time for employee to come ask the employee for any concerns. That's also the right thing to do. Ask for concerns. For instance, I think when we want to make any changes, normally we do this. Here's how we're going to do the change, right? Do you have any concern? Then the employee will say, oh, you're going to replace this system with that system, everything is going to be automated. Does it mean that I'm going to be out of job? You ask that, right? When you ask for concerns. Does it mean I'm going to be out of job? Now, most times the management don't answer this question because they worry people will raise these concerns, right? But actually you need to. Because if you don't, the employee don't have a chance to raise their concerns, then they will turn into resistance later on. Okay? But at least if you allow them to ask, then you have to explain to them, okay, we hear your concern. That's a valid concern. Our plan is to look at different pockets of business unit and decide what are the best options as we go along. Few options on the table are, number one is that you may be rotated to another job where it makes sense, right? Or, to be honest, we also include workforce reduction as part of the plan. We won't be hiding on that, right? But we will make case-by-case reason on that, and we will provide reasonable compensation package that comes out to be the most reasonable part, right? But in any case, if we are going that route, then employee will receive at least 2 months advance notice so that they have reaction time to respond to the change and all that. And this is important. You need to tell this to get the buy-in. Most organizations do a lousy job on this one. Okay? And that's where you get the insights in your case study. Okay? Then the movement change is the actual change itself, right? And there are many methods of changing, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. The movement phase. Okay? The moving phase has got many different ways of doing it. I don't need to talk a lot about that. You guys are going to do that. The refreezing phase, right? Refreezing phase is very, very important. Most organizations also tend to ignore or neglect on that. Okay? So what do you do with refreezing? What do you do with refreezing? New hiring and promotion systems, right? To sustain that change, correct? For instance, your change may be you want people to be very agile, responsive to the market, correct? Maybe the organization has been very static and not responsive to the marketplace, right? I think BA is an example of that. okay, they come from a very doctrine and very romantic kind of organization, very process. They don't really care about the customers, so the customers are lousy. So they implemented new hiring and promotion scheme that is based on very customer friendly or customer oriented and people oriented. They make sure that when they hire new people, that's the kind of criteria they're looking for to ensure that future they sustain that, right? And people will be promoted if they are able to continue to drive this culture in this way. So that's one thing, how you do it, okay? Okay, what else can you do? The first point there says what? Implement what? Evaluation system. What do you mean by that? Every year end you do performance appraisal, right? Every organization do performance appraisal. How are you evaluating? How are you evaluating? Based on the old set of criteria, evaluated based on the new set of criteria. New set of criteria, right? Now, if people are not evaluated based on the new set of criteria, chances are they will fall back to the old criteria. Right? This is another way of making sure that the new culture can be sustained, right? Sustained. The new change can be sustained. So the keyword you will hear in the exam or when you write up is not the term refreezing, it's called sustaining the change. Sustaining the change, right? Another keyword you will hear is reinstitutionalize the change. Reinstitutionalize the change. You got that? All of you got that? Two keywords, huh? One is called sustaining the change, another is called the reinstitutionalize the change. These are two keywords. Whenever you see this, it means how to sustain the change, right? How to refreeze the change. That's the whole idea. There are some more things here. You can see some other points here, right? If you look down here, it says make change permanent, establish new way of things. That means new processes of getting change done, as well as reward desired outcomes based on the new change, right? So rewards is also another thing. It's the same as evaluation, right? Evaluate and then reward based on the new set of criteria. Okay, so that Burke-Litwin three-step model. Next is the force field analysis theory by Burke-Litwin, and I think I explained this one earlier. Force field analysis theory. For instance, your change could be about purchasing a new ERP software, okay? Right? And Lewin says, when you want to manage the change and be successful, you need to understand what are the drivers of the change, what are the driving forces of the change. Okay? Driving forces of the change, that means the forces that are supporting the change. And what are the restraining forces for the change? That means forces that are going to be deterring the change from becoming successful. Okay? And in this case, on the left side, for instance, what you see are a list of the driving forces. And on the right side, what you see is a list of the restraining forces. Okay? So can you guys read to me what are the driving forces for purchase of new ERP software?
Web-based software.
Web-based platform, right? People want to have a web-based platform. What else? The Xbox is available, okay?
24 hours support.
24/7 support available, okay? Next.
Incorporates best
In fact, this is probably
practices.
one of the very important ones, right? Best practices. What's the next one?
Reduce implementation.
Reduce implementation time. Okay. Then on the right side, what are the restraining forces?
Cost.
Cost, yes. Business disruption.
Staff afraid of changes.
Right?
Extensive training sessions.
Sessions, right? In fact, there should be more. This is not a complete example. Staff afraid of losing job. Correct?
Yes.
Because something become automated, right? An example. So how do you use this theory? This theory works in this way. You are supposed to do survey and understand what are the driving forces and the restraining forces and understand their strength. Now you notice that each of these forces got a number next to it. How do you get that number? Huh? You do survey. You do survey. For example, you run a survey with the employee, right? And then the question you are going to ask will be very subtle. You're not going to ask a direct question. You're going to ask subtle question. Do you prefer web-based application or easy access? Right? If the answer is all yes, that means that's one of the driving forces, right? Or in fact, the question may be asked, do you like to have a system that you can easily do data entry to support your business operation and it's web-based? So the question may be asked like that. If all the employees say yes, eventually it translates to a score of 5 maybe, right? Or more than 80% of employees say yes, it translates to a score of 5. As an example, right? So similarly, all the questions you can answer, for example, on the business disruption, are you concerned that the system implementation may disrupt your business operation? Okay. If many employees say yes, I'm concerned. Oh, I read the system. I need to move it a little bit. Yeah, like that. Okay. If many employees say yes, I'm concerned. Hang on a minute. Why is this guy so slow? Okay. Oops. Yeah. So if only if only maybe 10 employees out of 1,000 employees says that I'm concerned on the business disruption, it may translate to a score of 1 as an example. Okay. So the idea is that when you sum up the forces on the against and the sum of the forces on the for, if the if the driving forces is 18 as an example here, and the restraining forces is 11 as in this case here, do you have a higher chance of success?
Yes.
Yes, because the driving forces is much higher than the restraining forces, right? But if the other way around, it means you have a high chance of success or failure.
Failure.
Failure, right? So Burke-Litwin says you can use this model, right, to understand what are the driving forces and the restraining forces, how strong the restraining forces are. And if the restraining force is very strong, then you can apply the right intervention to to reduce your restraining forces, right? For instance, afraid of changes, let's say this one, right? Afraid of changes, the score is 3 here, right? It's quite high. If you want to reduce that, what do you think you can do? Training. And what else? In fact, it should be more communications. You need to do more communications to explain, right? That it will not introduce a lot. It will be very easy, user-friendly, blah, 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 that kind of stuff, right? So you need to do more communications to get a buy-in. That's what it means. So that you can inject this change process, inject more communication to reduce that one. To reduce that restriction. And that will increase your chance of success. Right? So this is how you can use a force field analysis. Now how, in the exam, the question may ask, what do you think the company can do or should have done, or do you have recommendations how the company can make the change, can implement the change in a better way? Then one way you can respond to that question is to say, the organization could have applied Lewin's force field analysis theory to analyze what are the driving forces and what are the restraining forces, right? And from this case that I can understand, it sounds to me that the restraining forces are this, list down what are these. And one of them apparently is the employees are very afraid of losing job, right? And in this particular case, if the company could have spent more time in communicating with the employee and established a plan of how that can be handled properly with the employee to create a sense of safety with the employee, that this is well taken care, instead of just throwing the employee out of the door without a proper communication, proper handling, then it would have reduced the resistance significantly and consequently increase the chance of the success for the organization. That's how you use it. Okay? Got idea? Any questions before I move on? No? Okay.
No.
Okay, next is what we call as action research. Okay, action research. It's also by Burke-Litwin. Okay, action research should have been covered in your lecture 2 by Professor Elizabeth. Do you guys remember? No?
Yes.
You don't know Professor Elizabeth anything. Okay, that's fine. Action research is actually a more fancy way of saying take action. That's what it is. Now, how do you use this one? How do you use this model? The case may describe the organization that, oh, the management feel that they are threatened by the competitor in this way, therefore they introduce cost cutting, they introduce the structural change, change the organization in this way, and they acquire this company, they merge so that they increase their competitiveness, all that thing. So this, and then, you know, this is all the change, right? So they describe all this change. The case may go like that. Then you can, and if the question asks like this, describe the change that is implemented by the organization. Describe the change that is implemented by the organization. When the question goes like that, it's very tricky. It sounds like it's very easy to answer. It sounds like it's very easy to answer. You just have to copy from the description in the text and then put in your answer. You're going to get 0, okay? Right? Because you need to show elevated learning. You need to show elevated learning. This is the same, this is the scenario is like, if I ask you as a patient, describe your sickness. You say, oh, I feel very giddy, I feel stomach pain, you say that kind of thing, right? But if I ask a doctor, who's a specialist, now you are a change agent, you are a specialist, you are not the patient, okay? The organization is the patient, okay? Right? You're the doctor now, you ask you, describe the sickness. What do you expect from the doctor to say? Oh, giddy, stomach pain. Do you have any respect to the doctor? No, right? Correct? Same situation here. So you need to speak like a doctor, all right? The way to speak like a doctor is like this, okay? The organization have seen the drivers of change. So you see, now you're using the keyword drivers of change. And these are the drivers of change that they have identified. Economic, social, and under economic what they have found, under social what they have found, okay? And they have changed in such a way that they jump into the change immediately when they see the need of the change. And they change the organization by structurally reducing redundancies. Number one. Number two is that strategy-wise, they use merger and acquisition to accelerate the speed of the change, to increase their competitiveness by buying a company, right? Which all this make logical sense in terms of what they are doing, okay? However, it was clear that in the change, they were facing huge resistance from the employee, right? And in my opinion, the company could have implemented action research before they actually jump into the change. Action research by Burke-Litwin, before they jump into the change, by doing some survey with the employees to collect feedback and concerns before they define the change strategy and jump into the action. This is also in line with Burke-Litwin's unfreezing phase of a change. Now, if you can say like that, you are the doctor, you will get scored. Okay? In other words, you need to show elevated learning again. You don't just describe, you don't just copy from the text itself what it is, right? You do get the materials there and write in your own words, right? But you need to add on with elevated learning, like the theories, the models, the framework, and all that. It's just like the doctor is able to describe your sickness, right? Oh, he has giddiness because he's suffering from this sickness, all kind of medical terms, right? Something like that. You need to be able to do that as a thing. If you don't, then you don't get scored because you haven't been a doctor. Okay? All right? That's how I do. So this one example of how you use this. Okay. Basically, if you feel that the organization should have done a survey, then you can introduce the action research concept. Okay. Next is this Burke-Litwin model. Burke-Litwin model. It is a multi-dimensional approach covering many aspects of organization change, including many management practices, climate, and policies. Also introduce the concept of what changes can lead to transactional effect versus transformational effect on an organization. What do you mean by this one? Let's take a look. Take a look at this model and let me ask you questions, right? What changes you should introduce to achieve transformational change? What changes should you introduce to an organization to achieve transformational or strategic change? You guys tell me from here. What changes should you introduce to an organization to achieve transformational or strategic change? What's that again? Go ahead, louder. What are those? Strategy,
Leadership, organizational culture.
and culture. Right? Very good. So those are the three aspects of things you need to change in order to achieve transformational or strategic change for an organization. Right? Okay, next question. What are the aspects that need to change in order to achieve transformational improvement for an organization? Those are the operational levels, right? So what are the
Structure, management practice systems.
structure, management practices, and systems, right? Systems, including the processes and all that, right? Right? Including the IT system also, right? So these are very good. Okay. And what are the things that you need to change to improve employee satisfaction or employee productivity? Task, skills, motivation, individual values and aspirations, right? And then
Work unit climate.
work unit climate also, right? Right? These are the things that will make employees happier, correct? And probably more motivated in that sense, okay? Now, under work unit climate, what does it consist of?
Management practice, motivation.
Motivation, management practice, and what else? Some more.
Leadership, external environment.
Leadership, okay. External environment, no, I don't think so, right? What else? How about structure?
Structure system
Yes.
and in leadership.
Yes. Structure, you see a hierarchical structure versus a flat structure influence the work climate, correct? Right or not? The hierarchical structure will be very bureaucratic, right? A flat structure means more flexible, faster, right? That's the work climate. Correct? And then the systems also affect, right? The business process can be very rigid or the business process can be very flexible kind of thing, right? That's an example. This will affect the work climate, right? Okay? And then for the tasks and skills, they are influenced by what? They are influenced by what?
Influenced by motivation, individual.
No, in fact, it's a structure. The
So
organization structure. Because with the structure, it means what roles you will play. Correct or not?
yeah, correct.
What
So
decision
it-
power you have. Whether it's a regionalized operation or whether it's a centralized operation, right? For a global organization, typically this is the thing, right? Whether it's centralized or globalized, right? Whether it's regionalized or centralized, right? Regionalized means the region has more empowerment, right? To make decision.
correct.
Yeah. Or sometimes even if it is centralized, they can also give a bit more empowerment to the employees. So these affect all the tasks and skills, correct? Right? Depending on the role you play. Okay. Alright, so this is quite interesting. So that's why this model is very good to explain many things actually. Almost everything can use Burke-Litwin's model to explain. I like this model, it's very comprehensive. Including the external environment, can you see that? The external environment has influence to the organization in what way?
Mission and strategy, organizational culture,
And leadership, right?
leadership. Yeah.
So it's very true, right? Correct? Yeah. So these are all the aspects. So I think this model, I kind of like it because it's really comprehensive, really, in that way, compared to many theory. Okay? It allows you to look at all the different aspects of organization in more holistic way to analyze which aspect should you take action given the situation. Okay. All right. So let's say now the question is how do you use this model, right? I give an example. If the case discuss about an organization change, say that this organization implemented putting people first. For example, is the EAK, for example. People first, they emphasize a lot of customer service, employ a lot of employee aspiration, motivation, training, blah blah blah, all those things. Okay. Now, the exam question goes like this. Describe the change that is implemented by the organization.
The organization implemented the change. Individual value aspirations.
Practice who model. But Lewin's model, right? No, in fact, you can say that the organization make changes covering many aspects that is on the humanistic side and the motivational side of an organization. Right? And according to Burke-Litwin's model, this covers the individual values and aspiration aspect, covers the motivational aspect, covers the organization culture aspect, right? And for the individual values and aspiration aspects, it can lead to higher motivation and higher employee performance, and therefore higher organization performance. Can you see at the bottom there? Higher performance organization. And also the improvement on the organization culture obviously will drive a strategic change, according to Burke-Litwin, which will have a transformational effect on the organization to compete in the marketplace. See that?
Yeah.
So when you describe like this, you are describing not a normal way, a more advanced way of describing the change. Okay? Alright? Now the question may not just say describe the change. The question could take several forms. You can write down this one. Another form the question may go is like this. Discuss the features of the change by the organization. Discuss the features of the change by the organization.
So we can talk about structure, management practice, system, leadership, culture.
Whatever you think you can relate to.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense. Okay. Typically, there are at least several aspects you can discuss, not just one. Okay. I think I should pause for a break. Is it enough for you guys? Is it too much already? Oh, okay, huh? You guys are too much, is it?
Yeah, I can take.
Yeah. You guys think you should do a break here? I think you should, huh?
Okay.
Let's do a 5 minutes break, then we come back and continue. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you. See you guys in a while.
Okay.